Yo, what's up guys, welcome back to another video. This is a reaction to the Myths Gen X spread. And I mean, I have no idea what myths are going to have come from this generation. I'm going to assume it will be, maybe this is at the generation where the stuff like the moon landing was fake came from, and these types of myths. Am I getting myths mixed up with conspiracy theories? I feel like they're sort of the same thing. Maybe not really, I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to check out to see, maybe I've heard of these and I just didn't realize it was from the generation, and they've, I guess, carried over from generations to current day. Yeah, that's just sort of what I'm assuming, but I don't really know. So we're going to check this out and see some of the myths that were around when Gen X were growing up, and that's pretty much it. Let's check this out. Hopefully you're going to enjoy. Links are in the description to my Patreon, where you can see reactions to movies that I can't post to YouTube and other stuff as well. But let's jump into this video.
For those of us who grew up in Generation X and before, we did not need the internet to spread false information. It was all done by word of mouth. In the same token, we did not have the internet to research this on our own. Many of us believed in these myths as truth, but since that time, we have realized that they are false. In this video, we will have a look back on some of the myths that we believed as a Gen Xer. Kids from Generation X love trick-or-treating and everything Halloween. But this sacred holiday for kids wasn't without its own crazy rumors. Do you remember the panic over candy and apples having razor blades and needles in them? We all...
Maybe this was not from the US. Was this a thing? Was there situations where people would do sick things like this? I mean, I guess we're going to find out. I mean, it's myths, right? So maybe it's not true. That's the whole point, right?
Heard that, but yet we never saw it.
Okay.
Another rumor that you probably believed in is how the local hospital would x-ray your candy to ensure that it was needle and razor blade free.
What the
Did anyone out there actually have that done?
The thing is, what generation did trick-or-treating really start in? Because if this is one of the, like, Gen X, it would have been, like, I guess, one of the generations that it was still somewhat new to. Maybe I'm wrong. So maybe all these myths were made up just to make kids more careful. But, damn, really trying to scare the youth then. Fair enough.
Razor blades made their way into another urban legend, and some kids were truly terrified by this one. Remember hearing about blades being placed on water slides so that they would cut you on the way down?
Oh my days.
They could have been loosely placed on the slide, wedged in the cracks, or stuck on there with gum or putty. It may be laughable now, but there really was a time period where the satanic panic had gripped the nation, and this was especially true in the 1980s. There were all sorts of rumors about Satanists that lived out in the woods or in an abandoned house that were sacrificing animals. Police departments everywhere even believed in these happenings. And any time that we saw a pentagram, we instantly became horrified.
Damn.
But the truth is that rarely, if ever, happened. However, this same sort of panic carried over into the music world. Churches would play records backwards so that you could hear these satanic messages, and they would warn kids.
Oh my days. I had a friend when I was younger. Like we were like really close, and like we were a group of friends that like would always go to their house because their mum just was chilled with us, like having loads of friends around. But she was very she loved our conspiracy theories, and I swear it was from them that they used to like play songs backwards, and it would be so creepy and all this stuff. And I'd never really used to know what it was, but it was just like this message of the song played backwards. I didn't know this was a thing back in these times. I just didn't realize this was a thing that people sort of, that there was this sort of conspiracy or myth around it of these messages in songs played backwards. But that's just sparked a memory in my head that I completely forgot about, and now I've seen this. It's like, god damn, that's passed down through generations. And she's very religious as well. Like, she was very religious, so I feel like maybe it's something linked to that as well. But, damn.
The dangers of listening to certain rock and heavy metal bands. Kiss was certainly one of those many targets. And remember what their names supposedly stood for? I bet you either heard Kids in Satan's Service or Knights in Satan's Service. The band AC/DC also had rumors that it stood for After Christ Devil Comes, or Antichrist Devil's Children. Gene Simmons from the band Kiss was also involved in another crazy rumor. We were told that he had a cow's tongue that was grafted onto his own. And how about that Bloody Mary rumor?
No.
Somehow...
No, I don't want to see this. I don't want to see this, bro.
This was supposed to summon her from hell, and kids were rumored to be found dead after seeing her appear in the mirror.
I'm getting a jump scare from this channel. Oh, I don't want to see that stuff. I'm not prepared for that right now.
Some of the rumors that we heard about cars were frightening, while others were not. We just believed in them either way.
What's in the front of this
We
car?
were told not to flash our headlights at cars driving down the road at night with no lights on. If we did, then this was some sort of gang initiation and we would be killed. And how many times were you told that it was illegal to drive down the road at night with the interior lights on?
What?
Food products had their own rumors, and we believed them to be true.
Chewing gum.
You know, if you swallow gum, your body can't digest it for 7 years.
That's one of those ones that's been passed down. Like, I remember hearing that. I still sort of probably believed it a few years ago. It's just, I don't know why you would believe it, but you were told it. It's like you were told so many times that this is the case, so you just sort of believe it for so long.
I would have been dead years ago with as much gum as I swallowed in school. Another one concerning gum was about bubble yum. Supposedly, it was only soft because it was made out of spider eggs. It became so big that the company even took out an ad to try to dispel it. And how many of us tried to look for a Native American shooting a star on a Tootsie Pop wrapper? If you found one, then supposedly you would get a lifetime supply of them. Many kids found these and tried to redeem them at stores. Usually the clerk would give you a free one just to get you to shut up and get out of the store. This never was really a thing.
Oh, wow.
Another interesting tale involved the dot candies that you could buy, and they were supposed to be laced with LSD. At least that's what kids spread. Speaking of LSD, if you used it 7 times, then you would legally be insane. Remember Mikey from the Life cereal commercials? Well, he's alive and well today, but many of us believe that he had died from consuming Pop Rocks and Coca-Cola.
Damn.
The rumor was that his stomach exploded from the combination, and that was the end of him. If you ever watched the show Mythbusters, then you probably already know that this myth is not true. Coke was also involved in another rumor that we believe to be true. If you had a spare tooth laying around, then you could drop it in a glass of Coca-Cola, and by morning time, it would be completely dissolved.
See, I remember being told this one as well. It's so fascinating how some of these, like, from a different country, I've heard of these myths. And these are from, like, years and years ago, from a different country. It's just so weird how I've heard of these when I was a kid, and I believe this sort of stuff as well. Again, there's not many, but some of them have definitely been passed down to generations for sure.
It seemed like there was always a healthy dose of rumors going around about famous people. Some of those involved gerbils and various other gross acts that we won't go into on here, but a couple of them you may remember hearing. The reason why Mr. Rogers always wore long sleeves is because he had tattoos all over them, and he was also a Marine sniper in Vietnam. Absolutely none of that was true. He was always just a minister with a successful kids show. Walt Disney was rumored to have his body frozen, and he was awaiting a cure for cancer.
This is one that's been passed down again. I feel like everyone's heard this one.
So that he could be brought back to life. In reality, he was cremated.
Completely different.
Some of the technology of the time period also had its share of rumors. Did you ever hear of people running into AIDS needles in the coin slots of payphones and soda machines? This particular rumor led to a lot of change being left in those. What about how you needed to stay 6 feet away from a running microwave, and if you did not, then you would become sterile? How many times did your parents tell you to not sit so close to the television or you'll go blind? They also probably told you to not watch it without a light on. Yet, here we are, and we've had computer screens and phone screens crammed in front of...
I mean, I do wonder how my eyes are going to be when I'm like 50, 60 years old, because my whole life is based looking at three screens, 2 lights, but then I'm going to be on my phone throughout the day, watching TV at certain points to watch sports or a film or whatever. Like, everything is based around screens now. So, like, I wonder how my eyes are going to be. Like, I'm sure there's going to be effects that obviously you haven't really been, you've not really been able to test out yet, because it's like there's not really been a generation who's grown up with this stuff. So we're the test dummies. Probably going to have eye problems, tumours, all this stuff. But you know what? We're doing it for the new generations. You know, I'll happily take this for the new
Front of
generation.
our faces for decades. If you were a kid in the later part of the 80s, then I'm sure you thought that blowing into a Nintendo cartridge was necessary, but it was
clean
not.
it?
Really, it just needed a better connection.
Oh wow.
Acid rain was another thing that we
Acid
were all
rain?
supposed to be worried about. Would it melt you or just turn your hair green? Who knows, but so far we're all doing good. Pool water had a rumor that I'm sure we have all heard. If you peed in the pool, then everyone would know because the water would change colors. At some time or another, we probably all disproved that rumor. Dungeons and
Fairs.
Dragons became pretty popular to play, but the rumor was that it could make you possessed if you played it. But one of the funniest rumors that we all heard in America was how black belts in karate had to register their hands with the police departments as deadly weapons. But not boxers or kung fu guys or any other type of martial artist. That one never made sense to me, but it went around like crazy. Gen X kids have
I know this isn't related yet, but Jesus, man, Mike Tyson is 19 here. What? I swear I've seen pictures of him when he was like 16, and he looks like a full-grown adult, like a 30-year-old adult, man. Crazy genetics, man.
Gen X kids have certainly seen their share of crazy rumors, and many of these myths were shared with our friends without even thinking about them. What's interesting about these old myths is how they keep coming back up, and
Yeah.
from time to time I still see them on Facebook.
It's cool how it happens, though. It is quite like, it's just nice to see some of these silly things have been passed down. I stand by the Nintendo cartridge rumor. It worked miracles. I'm so glad I was born in 72 and I would live it again. I'm still being told you couldn't swim for an hour after you ate. Yep. You'd cramp up and possibly drown. I mean, I was just told that you might feel sick. Like when we used to do swimming lessons in school, you weren't allowed to eat like an hour before, which is just silly, but how it was, right? I guess. I mean, I don't know. I guess it's just to make sure no one throws up in the pool, so you don't have to clean anything. I guess some people may react, but yeah, there we go. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Maybe this fruit brought back some memories for you, and yeah, maybe let me know some more myths that you remember from, not necessarily if you're from Gen X, just any generation, and myths that you've believed and now you sort of look back on and you're like, why would I believe that? I guess the big myth is that Santa's real, right? Everyone's told that as a kid, and he's not real, unless you're a kid. I don't want to ruin your fun, but yeah, hopefully you enjoyed, and until next time, like, subscribe, and peace.